Rocking and rolling, getting ready to kick off the show. We're just starting as we usually do on YouTube, and Jesse will have us up on Facebook Live, and we'll get the intro, and we'll roll into this on as we usually do, Facebook Live and YouTube on IE Newswire Daily, and then at 5:30 we'll be rolling into IE Newswire Daily, also simultaneously simulcasting through the miracle of all this modern technology you have on 1490 AM KMET. So that's always fun to be on the AM radio, bringing you all the news and views and things that happened today, which was absolutely a lot of good stuff happening today on that. We'll get into that. And a follow up on some of the stories that we did and have covered on that. Uh, the Oakland home occupation one is absolutely great of going on that. So we're getting ready the countdown to go on Facebook Live, and we'll be kicking this puppy off.
The Toyota San Bernardino Recording Studio presents IE Newswire Daily with Roy Blecker. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Here we go back on IE Newswire Daily Live. We're live on Facebook and YouTube for this half hour. We'll be joining KMET 1490 at the bottom of the hour on that. Anybody wants to call in, the phone number is 951-242-5397. You get this half hour. We'll be playing some videos and stuff. Actually, the whole show, tried to get a bunch of guests on, so everybody was busy today, yada, yada, yada. So we'll just kick through some videos if you want to call in. Say what's ever on your mind on this stuff. We'll be absolutely incredulous, or I don't know, what the heck does incredulous mean? I throw some of these stuff out and don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it'll be fun on today's show, going back and forth all across the board. We always have a lot of fun on this. We had an update and video of the Oakland home occupation, where these moms for homeless or whatever just decide to waltz into somebody's home, occupy it, and say it's ours. There's some. They had a little run-in, let's say, with the law enforcement officers after the court, I think on Monday, ruled, you know what? It's not your home. You did not pay for it. You did not sign a rental agreement. You are not compensating the owner of the property for occupying it. Hence, you will have to leave. So we'll be updating that on that. Fuel spill out of LAX. A Delta Airlines plane had reported engine problems, so they dropped some fuel. Reran it around to land it. It landed on a couple of schools, and some school kids got some JP4 or what, a JP1 or whatever they're burning in those things now on them. It didn't seem to be anybody was seriously injured, just some skin irritations and stuff like that. We got a little bitty video to bring you on that. On top of that, Tucker Carlson on Fox News has been doing a great series on the homeless. And you're going to see a small business owner who has to deal with the theft and the vagrants that are giving him all kinds of problems and that. This is real world stuff. And it's happening and it's proliferating all over the place. And if we don't stop it, like all this idiocracy that's going on, we're just going to be keep getting buried, up and down the line on this stuff, and it's doing nobody any good that I can see. I mean, and call in, like you say, call in. Correct me if I'm wrong on this stuff. I enjoy a good debate, or sometimes I learn something. You might even change my mind on this stuff. 951-242-5397. The it's getting ridiculous. We got some video of the Board of Supervisors. They picked up and are starting to deal with the pinch looming $3.5 billion unfunded mandate that is sitting down there at the county of Riverside, the white elephant in the room that they all but Jeff Hewitt has been dancing around. We had some great video shots of that, of what happened on that. Some sad news was announced at the meeting, at the Board of Supervisors meeting. Longtime supervisor Melba Dunlop passed away last night over that. So she had been on the board for I think many years, probably about 10 or 15 years. Longtime representative, I think during the 80s and around that time. Her passing was announced last night, or her passing of last night was announced at the Board of Supervisors meeting at the start of the meeting. So that was some sad news, but she represented herself, her family, and the Riverside County very well, and may she rest in peace. Along with that, let's see what we're going to start with here. Well, let's just start with the fuel spill video because that's a short one on that. Give that a roll on that. So this is a Delta Airlines video of what happened down in L.A. today on that going on. So let the fuel spill video roll. We're waiting. Try clicking the... Oh, no audio on that? What setting do you not have turned on, or speaker that you have turned on the video that it is not playing? And when I rolled it, it was playing. When I sent it to you, so you must have some setting on that. No, some airplane went up and he was having engine trouble. So as a standard operating procedure, they dumped the fuel on that as on the way, and it hit a couple of elementary schools on that. I think Jesse finally figured out which button to push to get the audio. So play the video from
fuel dump
ABC7.
happened around the midday. Take a look. This is the plane in question. It's a Delta flight that took off from LAX heading to Shanghai around noon. Now, according to Delta Airlines, their flight 89 experienced an engine issue requiring the aircraft to return to LAX. The aircraft landed safely after an emergency fuel release to reduce landing weight. The fuel from that jetliner is what landed on the kids here at Park Elementary School and other schools here not too far after the plane dumped its fuel. Tape number 2 from Air 7. You can see the response by LA County Fire here at Park Elementary to treat the adults and kids who were affected by the fuel drop. Here's the good news. No one was seriously injured. LA County Fire says 44 patients were treated, total 31 here for minor skin irritation. 20 children and 11 adults were treated. The symptoms from jet fuel exposure include skin and eye irritation, maybe some breathing issues, but the only thing the adults and kids were complaining of was minor skin irritation. No one was taken to the hospital. You can imagine how frightening this was for parents and students when this whole thing happened.
Just coming out from your house and you see all this, suddenly you're just thinking the worst, right?
The idea of a plane dumping its fuel or something here, what do you think? Because you're over the flight pattern.
Insane, and I mean, you would think they would know where they're flying, over where area they're flying, and over a school. That's pretty dangerous. She's good. She's a little scared, but she's okay.
It was pretty scary. I didn't know what was happening. I was kind of frightened because I got really worried.
A total of 44 patients at 4 elementary schools were treated for minor skin irritation. Again, no one was taken to the hospital. No evacuations were needed. 93rd Street Elementary in Los Angeles was also affected by this, but no students were transported. But 11 students were treated for minor skin irritations. Kids there were sent home early. Jordan High School, the same thing. Nobody was transported to the hospital. School operations run normally after that. As we come back here live, there's still a lot of activity, and let me tell you that the FAA released a statement telling everybody they are looking into what happened here. Apparently jet fuel, when it's released, is supposed to disappear, get absorbed by the atmosphere. That wasn't the case here this afternoon.
There you go. I mean, it's as things happen. I don't think anybody had doesn't seem to be no serious injuries. It's a safety deal. Sometimes these things happen. No big deal on that, or, per se. I mean, yeah, you get some skin irritation on that. I think nobody's going to die over this stuff of that. But, it's just one of the hazards of that, and that's standard operating procedure. If they think there's going to be a problem, they're dumping the fuel. One thing makes the landing a little bit more safer when they're coming in, because they're not, the plane is not as heavy, and plus it eliminates the chance, if they are coming in and they do have a crash, if there's little or no fuel on board, then there's much less chance of explosion happening and then injuring the people and the passengers in the plane. So fortunately, the plane landed, it seemed, safely, got back. There was some minor irritation, injuries on that, but no big deal. Everybody, I think, will be rocking and rolling in no time. I think the schools will be back open and everything will be hunky-dory on that. So, was just one of those unusual things that happen that you don't see every day happening in our news on that. I want to deal with the Oakland deal, because we've covered that. These goofball moms, for whatever, coming off the acorn in this. And some of the these people are nuts. And you're going to see in the video, they're going to say, well, we are not going to occupy your stuff, Dada. We're going to go after the rich, evil corporations, white man, whatever the heck their little entourage was, which, I'm calling this BS. They did not leave the property. They had to be evicted by battering ram. They were barricading themselves in. They lost yesterday in court. The judge said, you have no right to be in that home. You did not pay for it. You did not buy it. You did not sign a rental agreement with the owner of the property, or no such thing. You just cannot walk into somebody's home and just decide you're going to occupy it. So they're going to be defiant or whatever. But this video that we're going to show from, I think, Channel 2 up in San Francisco is, just illustrates some of the dumbest thinking that I have ever seen. And really, this kind of stuff, if it proliferates, that's why the homeless crisis is going. And we're going to play the Tucker Carlson video after this on the homeless crisis and what's going on, what small business owners are having to deal with in there. And if we're going to keep letting this go, we're going to deserve what we get. But play the video of the Oakland home occupiers. This is amazing.
5 over that house in West Oakland. You can see a fence now around the property.
And a live look now at Santa Rita Jail in Dublin, where the people arrested during that eviction process were taken.
Let's get right over to our Jackie Ward live in Oakland, where members of the group Moms for Housing were trying to prevent deputies from getting into the home. Jackie?
Anna Michelle, just minutes ago, this fencing was put up. The windows and doors are boarded up. The eviction notice is on the door, and now some of the moms are in jail.
This house was a statement. It was a symbol of what needs to happen in Oakland. This was an absolute victory. We're still victorious, and we're going to keep it moving.
At 5:15 this morning, the Alameda County Sheriff's Office carried out an eviction order for the people living at 2928 Magnolia Street, dressed in full riot gear with automatic weapons. They arrested 2 of the moms and 2 of their supporters.
We're here, moms.
Within 15 minutes, more than 300 Moms for Housing supporters were out on the street.
Who's out? Mom's out! Who's out? Mom's out! We have to keep fighting because we see what we're up against, and they're scared of us. They're scared of people power, and we got to show them. We have to mobilize, and we have to show them that we're here and we're not going anywhere.
Sergeant Ray Kelly with the Sheriff's Office said this was not your typical eviction, given the amount of attention it's gotten. The sheriff said the moms made it nearly impossible to open the doors.
We could not enter the home traditionally with a key or using a locksmith. They were fortified in such a way that we had to use a ram and a tremendous amount of force.
What is this police force? What is this military force for? Because we had hundreds of people? Hundreds of people weren't out here with AR-15s to combat the sheriffs.
The owner of the home, real estate development company Wedgwood Properties, released a statement following the eviction saying, quote, Wedgwood is pleased this illegal occupation of its Oakland home has ended peacefully. That is what we have sought since the start. We will now work with a nonprofit to renovate the home, giving opportunities to at-risk Oakland youths and splitting the profits with the nonprofit so that others may benefit. As this movement continues to grow, some Oakland residents are scared that homeless moms may move into their property.
We are not trying to take the individual properties of moms and pops. Don't let Sam Singer tell you that. Like, what if they decide to take my car? What if they decide to take my house? We're not talking about that. We're talking about the greed of wealthy corporations that are robbing all of us.
We asked Dominique where she would live now that she can't live here on Magnolia Street. She said her community had her back and all the children are safe. The children were fortunately not home when the eviction was served. This is a live look from Chopper 5 of the Santa Rita jail in Dublin, where the 4 people who were arrested are expected to be released any moment now. 4 people, that includes 2 of the moms who lived at this home and 2 of their supporters. Live from West Oakland, Jackie Ward, KPIX5.
Thanks, Jackie.
I mean, can you believe this? Military occupation, evil rich corporations, yada, yada, yada. We're all a bunch of racist rhetoric, BS, baloney. Why don't you just say that? You went in there and occupied a home you had no right to. I don't care if it's owned by Satan, the freaking devil himself. You had no right to be on that property. You barricaded yourself in. They had to blast through and batter and use a battering ram to get in there to get you out in a house that the judge and the law said you had no right to be in. And what you were doing, James Washington, the old Dallas Cowboys football star, was working with Wedgwood, the ones that own the house. And they go in there, they get, troubled youth to go in there and fix it up. They split the profits with James Washington's nonprofit group to help out these youth. They learn a trade. They learn how to work on a house. They get some money to do that. And this is what they're against. They're against freedom. They're against free will. And they're trying to make you fear. They're trying to make you fear the actual thing that's going to save you. I want to know the homeless person or the broke person that built anything. Shopping center, houses that you live in, started as something. It takes capital, it takes initiative, it takes work. It doesn't take, I'm going to steal something from somebody. You want to talk about immoral? You want to talk about just plain? I mean, what do you call this? Oh, we can just talk. Just because we don't like you or we think you got more than us, we can just go over and take it? Doesn't that sound like, isn't that what you talk about? People talk about the crack dealer or the crack druggie or that, and that's their mentality. They have they don't care about your stuff. That's what they think your stuff is their stuff. You have it, I want it, I'm going to take it from you. We are suffering a breakdown in society for this. I mean, all you Bernie bots and Pocahontas steals, all the ones. Go back to my Man in the Street interview with the Bernie supporters. Same theme keeps coming up. Oh, Bernie was blasting it all over the place. Oh, evil corporations, and they're taking this, and nobody has this. Well, Bernie, I don't see your butt out there living on $50,000 a year, riding a bicycle to the Senate. You're riding on private jets. Jet setting all across, running for president, worth millions of dollars. Why aren't you living in poverty? I don't see no Mother Teresa stamp on your forehead, dude. But you're preaching all this stuff to these and convincing and lying to these poor people that are buying it because you know what? As Mason Weaver says, you look at Bernie Sanders, you look at Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi. Oh, what's the ding dong that's down there in L.A. All of them, the whole gamut of these yo-hos, they keep preaching that. You know what? If we as a majority keep buying into this, the train wreck is not going to be good. It's something else. I mean, you get to the point of, I mean, what else are you going to, I mean, the mentality that comes with that. How do you raise, and you have kids that you're raising and this is what you're teaching your kids? Well, we decide we want something, we're just going to go in and take it. And she says, well, we're not talking about the mom and pops are taking somebody's car. Well, that's exactly the same thing. That is what you do. What is the difference if you walking in the store, decide, well, I'm going to grab the porterhouse steak and 6-pack of beer and, grab a couple of those big bag of Doritos over there while you're at it. And, those chocolate chip cookies look pretty good. Throw them all in the cart and just walk outside. Well, the rich store owner's got this stuff. I mean, why should he have it? You have it. I want it. I'm going to take it from you without compensating you. There is no difference in what they did than doing that. Is that what you want to teach your kids, lady? Is that what you're teaching them? What kind of example are you setting with this? Let's get down to the brass tacks, and we got to call this out. Stop playing goody two-shoes or footsie with these people and tell it like it is, all across the board. Everybody that's lying to us about this stuff or coming up with this stuff has got to be exposed. Because you're going to do that. This is what's going to happen if you continue to let this proliferate. All this. Tucker Carlson's been doing a deal on the homeless all last week on that. We played one last week. This is the second one. This is what a small business owner in San Francisco has to deal with each and every day. I mean, and I'm wearing green. How in God's green earth are you going to run a business and make a profit when you got to deal with crap like this? This is absolutely incredible. Run the Tucker Carlson video on that, and I mean, it's unbelievable and I'm glad they caught this on tape because people need to see this. American dysphoria.
In the city of San Francisco, one of the prettiest places in continental United States, law and order has been effectively suspended. Thanks to left-wing prosecutors, so-called quality of life crimes essentially no longer exist. People camp on the sidewalk, defecate in public, use drugs in broad daylight, all without penalty. That's bad enough. But even crimes with clear-cut victims are on the rise, in some cases out of control. For part 2 of our week-long American Dystopian series, we spoke with a local business owner in San Francisco, someone who's struggling to run a store where customers can steal with impunity. Here's the conversation. Get the f*** out of here, ass. This is a day in the life of Gilles Desaunier.
I've been here 42 years before you're f***ing born. F*** off. Over f*** you. Get your high prices, drip off the store out here.
Who runs a grocery store in San Francisco's South of Market neighborhood.
See how it gets?
How often do people come in and create problems in the store?
Every day. Every single day.
It's not an exaggeration. While the interview was underway, customers were filling their pockets with merchandise and just walking out of the store.
Is shoplifting an issue?
No, yeah. They decriminalized petty theft in California, so it happens every few minutes. Literally in our store, probably 15, 20 times a day.
20 times a day?
Oh, yeah.
The decriminalization of crime has been a disaster for this neighborhood.
And if you don't prosecute people, well, they just keep coming back. Nothing's going to happen. This is a needle from somebody who shot up.
When was the last time you came into work and had a day where nothing went wrong?
It's been many years.
Shoplifting is the least of Desaulnier's concerns. He's been attacked by the homeless twice in his own store. One woman bit him when he asked her to leave.
And she grabbed it, and she just bit into my arm, and she dropped her weight. I freaked out.
In today's San Francisco, those who follow the law are helpless, while criminals reign supreme. This surveillance footage shows a man breaking into the store and stealing credit card equipment.
Rang up $30,000 worth of refunds within an hour.
The store's rear door is rotting because homeless people urinate on it.
That's all from the acid in the urine.
How often do you see people doing drugs?
Oh, my God. every few minutes.
Before we arrived, someone had attempted to steal some of the counterfeit money that Desaulnier tapes to the wall behind the cash register.
I see a lot of water damage in the ceiling here. What's that?
Yeah, this is low-income housing, and some of them have issues, and sometimes they pass out, and water penetrates the ceiling. It happens every month, pretty much.
How much do you pay in taxes a year?
Thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's a lot.
Why are you still in San Francisco with experiences like that?
Well, because you make investments in businesses and your homes, and you buy property, and you can't just pick up and leave.
I live here. You don't. I live a block away. F you. Right over there.
Maybe he should. By the end of the interview, Desaulnier was on the phone with the police department. The man accosting us outside was blocking the store's entrance.
Then you have angry people across the street who can't afford it because they're living in poverty. Whose fault is that? You know, I'm scared for my safety.
It was his second 911 call of the day. San Francisco, it was a beautiful place once.
I mean, they're pissing on the door so much it's rotting it. Not to mention the theft and everything. I mean, what? This was Jesse, you said this a while ago. 10 years ago, you didn't even see anything. You never heard anything about this. This is how quickly it can deteriorate. When good people turn their back. Or say, I can't do this. Or, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. We're going to talk when we come back on KMET here in a little bit. We're going to talk about the pension crisis coming up that's in that. And there was a little bit of discussion about this. And I'm going to tell you what the power of each and every individual has. You may think that you don't, but you do. You may think that your voice does not count. And you're right. If you don't open your trap. If you sit there on them stupid cell phones going tack, 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 or running smiley faces, or not paying attention, well then live with the consequences that are going to come from that. Because there's sharks out there that are going to eat you alive. And they were more than willing to provide you the platform to do it. It's a little bit strange, and I had some interesting conversations with a lot of people that were down there. And one thing, and I probably, maybe I'll play some of mine on that, but I mean, I had probably half a dozen people as I was standing in the back of the room as they were leaving or something, either shaking my hand or patting me on the back and saying, great job, I really appreciate you saying that. Some others, and we'll play some clips of some of the others that were down there, the few of us, 4 of us, let's put it pacifically, that were out there and spoke on it. And you're going to be amazed, or maybe not amazed, maybe you don't care. You're going to be amazed how that changes, just that will change the conversation, change the outlook. Sometimes you don't have to have billions of dollars to affect change. You just need a good strategy. Maybe you just need to show up. And tell it like it is. That's some of the things that we're going to talk about here in the next part of it when we join KMET here in a few minutes. Because, I don't know, people, I'm really, and I mean, I'm kind of waiting for it. When is the majority of the people going to, especially in California, going to wake up? Or I'm going to say it. Do you want to bring Mexico as it is to California? A lot of you that have moved or immigrated from there and you got out of that hellhole, and I applaud you. I would say, George Putnam, longtime broadcaster and Talk Back Live. I was on the radio and you were going on about illegal aliens and what we're here, and he stopped me in the middle of the conversation and said, "You know what?" He said, "If you were in Mexico," he said, "you would be one of those ones trying to get out of there." And there was nobody tougher on illegal immigration than George Putnam was. But that made me think, yeah. And what he was telling me was, don't fault the people that are actually doing it because they're trying to get rid of it, get out of a bad situation. It is our fault for creating this situation, like I've said, and many others. The 21st century slave trade, which has had them under the thumb for a lot of reasons, and we've went over them, and we'll continue to do that as long as it's out there. But the main reason, like Phyllis Schlafly said, Democrats want the votes, Republicans want the cheap labor. And really more breaking it down, Democrats wanted the power, Republicans were more than willing to give it to them as long as they were making money on the deal. And that's where we're at. And this mentality that seems to be this free, like the occupation, well, I can just take what I want. That's definitely
1 minute.
All across the board. And we're going to delve into that in the next half hour on when we join KMET here in about 30, 45 seconds on that. We're going to get into because one guy stepped up there to the plate, and we're going to do that. And this is what I think needs to happen more and more often. We need more people.
30 seconds.
That are just out there trying to survive, make a living, are really the backbone of the United States of America, standing up, saying it, and that, and you won't believe the impact, I think, if you build that force from
Okay, here we go. Disclaimer incoming.
Millions.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
The Toyota San Bernardino Recording Studio presents IE Newswire Daily with Roy Blecker. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeah, we're back on KMET 1490 on Taco Tuesday. We've been running stuff on the live video cast, and you can still check us out there on IE Newswire Daily, on IE Newswire on Facebook, and IE Newswire on YouTube on that. So check out our channels on that are that you can actually see that and see the videos and stuff we're talking about. We talked about the homeless occupation. We talked about a little bit of the airliner from LAX that dumped the fuel on that had to land because they had suspected engine problems. A few of the kids at the elementary school got a little fuel on them. No big deal. They took care of it. Everything seems cool. We talked a little bit about the the ding-dongs that are up there in Oakland doing the homeless occupation. Finally, after yesterday's court ruling, to give you an update on that, the police went in there, had to use a battering ram because the moms were in there barricading themselves, and because they said, we have the right to occupy a property we did not pay for, we are not renting, we have no right to be on, and that. So they had to destroy the property on top of that. And what's even more incredulous is they're preventing, and they're costing more money. They're actually taking money out of troubled youth that football star James Washington had put together with Wedgwood, the owner of the properties, and they do that. They go in there, buy a property that needs to be fixed up, Wedgwood does, and whatever profits they make from fixing up the house, they split with James Washington's nonprofit. Some troubled youth get to learn, get some money, learn how to fix stuff up, maybe learn a trade, maybe turn their life around. These women are preventing that. And that's what exactly they want to do. They want to, as the old Hegelism was, create a crisis where it doesn't exist and walk in with a solution. It's the number one thing with Bernie Sanders, Pocahontas, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, the whole gamut of the Nancy Pelosi, all these ding-dongs over there. And there's some Republicans that do it too. Same thing, that have been done on the line down in there. But again, they're the ones that create this. They make you think that they manufacture a crisis, and they say, we're here to help you. What did Ronald Reagan say? Most dangerous words you can hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. Because you know what? They're about ready to dig that 6-foot hole in the ground, stuff you in it, and throw dirt on top of you, because that's about what's going to happen. We did that, and we ran the one of Tucker Carlson's pieces on the homeless and what the business owners are, what one business owner is going in. Not only are they stealing, he has like a retail store, the food store, like a mini market or something. Not only are the stealing and the BS that he has to put up with, the homeless yelling at him. I'm glad they caught it on videotape. You can go back and rewind it if you're just joining us on that. Check us out on IE Newswire Daily on Facebook and YouTube. Not only are the stealing and the homeless dude calling me F this and I deserve that and I'm entitled to go in and steal stuff out of your store and you're supposed to do anything about it. They've urinated so much on the door of his store it's rotting the frickin' wood. I mean, how much more do you got to go through on this stuff before you stand your ground and say we're not taking this anymore? You want to say something?
That was actually a metal door.
Oh, it was a metal. Well, yeah,
it was eating
well, yeah,
through
because
the
if
metal.
your urine has a lot of acid in it, and you put acid on a metal door, and it'll just sit there. It'll rust and rot, and eventually pull it away of that. So there's ammonia in it too. So it's very I guess you want to say very caustic chemical. That's what you're tinkling in the toilet. It's a very caustic chemical. That's why we roll it down in the sewer on that. But no, it's part of that. And in this half hour, we're going to cover a little deal because Ali Missouri is running for District 61 Assembly, which includes a lot of our listening area, Moreno Valley, Paris, the west end of Riverside. That Jose Medina currently represents it. Ali's running for that. But he posted a video like that. Hey, there's this pension crisis. It's up on the agenda. Go down to the Board of Supervisors meeting. He was there. A couple others, myself, 4 of us showed up and spoke about the deal. And we're going to get to Jeff Hewitt, the supervisor who has been the main push behind this and really turned the city of Calamasa around by doing pension reform, saved their $5 million general slush fund budget, $1 million, turned their city around by reforming the pensions just in the fire department over there. That's how big this thing is. But the county's admitting to, and Jeff pointed it out, there's even more to an unfunded mandate, $300 million cash short. And as I pointed out, and we might run some of my comments later on in the week, but you hear from me too much anyway. So, they were, and you'll hear in the Jeff Hewitt, city or county government Yahoo that just does all this gibberish, yada yada yada, and you're thinking, God, would he shut up, or what the heck is he talking about? And no wonder that, and that's what they tried to do. They tried to confuse you on all this stuff. So you wind up lining their pockets and pulling it out of yours. But we're going to play a clip from Matt Johnson. He rolled up there and rolled down there on that. He's a electrical contractor. He owns Ren's, I can get it out, Ren's Ranch down in Paris, the shooting range and stuff. Regular guy, small business owner, kind of like that small business owner that was up in San Francisco. Guy that provided employment, done that. Small business, not a rich guy, but he's he done well for himself. Not lacking for anything. The kind of guys that actually provides the jobs and opportunities and stuff for others. And you know how he does that? He had to make a profit. As somebody said, I never worked for a poor man. Like I said, where's the homeless guys that are out there building the buildings and stuff and infrastructure and everything that you use, or growing the crops, or going out there at 6 o'clock in the morning and providing the tractors that are plowing the field that make the food you eat. Tell me that. So play cut 4, have cut 4 up and ready. This is Matt Johnson in public comments talking about the pension fiasco that's going on down in the county of Riverside. And this is going on not only from the state of California, but in practically every government, school board, city, county agency is dealing with this problem. And if they don't fix it, we're all going to be in a heap of trouble. The tens of thousands of dollars you owe that you don't know you owe will come due, and then that's when it's really going to hit the fan. So play cut 4. You got cut 4 ready? Play cut 4.
Thank you for hearing me. It's my pleasure to stand before you, gentlemen. Hi, Jeff. My name is Matthew Johnson. I'm an electrical contractor, small businessman. I've been in the area for 30 plus years. I've remodeled Mr. Washington's house once for Ed Stevens, and Miss Spiegel's father-in-law was the first company I worked for as an apprentice. And so I've been here for a long time, and I've been around with you guys. What the pension plan, the CalPERS plan, my father-in-law was involved with CalPERS, and he enjoyed the benefits thereof, and it's served him well, and we've inherited because of his savings, his frugalness. My question is this, to Miss Spiegel and Mr. Washington and some of you. When I worked for your family, we had what we call a defined pension program. There's a certain amount of money that goes in. I'm not able to get any more than what's put in. It's matched by the contractors. There's no such thing as retiring at 90% of my last wage. And I would put to you that that's an unsustainable contract. It's a Ponzi scheme. You need new people coming in to put money in to cover that 90%. That would be like you, Mr. Perez, taking a 10% cut in pay and going home for the rest of your life, but still getting paid. Mm-hmm. That's what this pension plan amounts to. CalPERS is unsustainable, and it's very expensive. My children will not be able to survive in a world with a $3.4 or $5 billion deficit already before they get there. So instead of railing on you guys and trying to insult you or make you look bad or blame you, I'm asking if there's a possibility that we could switch this pension program. I understand that we have contracts and we don't want to get sued and lose money in lawsuits because of the pension plan. We've promised people money. I want to keep my word. We made them a promise. But can we stop hiring new people in the same way so that we continue to build this huge debt and move to a defined pension program where there's a certain amount of money that you get and you can't work? Oh, I've heard several people say, I need to work 2 more weeks because if I do, I get to the next level and that'll give me X number of dollars more in my pension. No, that's wrong. The people that work to pay that pension aren't entitled to anything like that. So I think in all fairness, maybe we could stop the CalPERS program and move into a defined pension program or something like that. I believe Mr. Hewitt has the same idea. And get something that's sustainable and manageable, but more than that, fair to the people that have to pay the bill. Thanks for hearing me. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for your testimony.
Randy Robinson.
There was a, and I did that because, and I know Matt, he's been around, he's a little bit, he's been getting more and more of the politics stuff and stuff. And, but that's, there was 3 of it. There was myself, the next guy that came up, and Allie, which is he's an immigrant from the Middle East. Those are 4 people that spoke. And I mean, Allie's a very successful businessman, owns AM/PM Travel Zone off the Ramona Expressway, off the 215. Many other businesses across the deal on there. Very successful guy. Matt's a successful electrical contractor. The other guy was a veteran, I believe. And then, there's me up here, the resident Yahoo. But, again, when it comes to the important issues of that, my first point is, who shows up and is concerned? Run the close-up on me on the camera, Jesse, of that on the deal, because it's the face of this, the evil straight white male, the evil business owner, as I have said it on the deal. And you look at Matt Johnson, and I'm asking you, where's the rest of y'all? Because you're going to hear from Jeff Hewitt in the next clip coming up. And he's going to tell you you're going to be in a heap of trouble if we don't deal with this. Like I say, there's back up to the shot, the wide shot. There's open microphones, chairs, phone lines. All five, and I'm inviting all five of you supervisors to come in, any public official, all of you. Tell me why this is not a big concern. Because if the county goes bankrupt or can't pay it, I'm going to ask all you that are drawing these platinum-plated benefits, pensions, not on top of that, platinum-plated pensions, gold standard health care. I keep asking the question, what is 100% of zero? And that is a big fat zero. And if you crash the system, there's nothing in the tank. There's no gas in the tank of your car. It ain't going nowhere. There's no money in the bank account. They can send you a check, but it ain't going to cash. It's the bottom line in this situation. And I said in my public comments, we shouldn't be having this conversation. If we're having this conversation in a probably, if not one, something is definitely big time, as you can explain, wrong. We should be talking about how flush the accounts are and what we are going to, what new roads we are putting in. How to make the we're going to put in infrastructure. We're going to be building new bridges. We're going to be doing new water projects. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be fixing up parks. We're going to be doing all kinds of things. Man, we're just, hey, happy days are here again. No, we're hearing doom and gloom across the board. And we're seeing, and you're getting a financial crisis when you're in this economy, like I said, ain't happening. So, and I think is it clip number 3? Play the Jeff Hewitt clip of that, because you're gonna hear the gobbledygook, a little bit of it, about 10 or 20 seconds of this. Whoever was the government spokeshole that's just going blah 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 blah. No, we got to get a sound effect of the or well, I don't know, maybe not. It might be a cover, but the when Charlie Brown was sitting in class, Jesse, and what was this? What was the sound of the teacher? Yes. And whenever you hear these whenever you hear these government spokesholes that come up, or the ones that are explaining you this, that's what it sounds. That's what you're hearing, because they make no sense. They're trying to confuse you on that. So play the Jeff Hewitt clip. You're going to see the government official that is trying to explain the they're trying to confuse you when it's really simple. So go ahead and roll the clip.
So under CalPERS or any other county health plan, participating retirees may receive a benefit prior to age 65 by paying premiums or developed by blending active and retiree costs. The bottom line is this. We look at it both ways. We look at it with the implicit subsidy and without the implicit subsidy. And without the implicit subsidy, that plan is funded at an 81.5% level. And the investments, the assets in that plan, in the CERP plan, total approximately $45 million.
Right there. This guy uses a lot. Again, look at all the big words. Nobody, I don't even, maybe one person there knew even had an inkling of what this guy is talking about. So go ahead and roll the rest of the clip.
The fiscal year ended June 30, 19, earning a 6.86% rate.
So you're saying it's 81%
here's
funded,
Supervisor
but that's
Jeff.
still 19% short of 100%, right? And when you pay as you go, you have to pay 100%. So what I'm saying is, regardless, we can get caught up in all these really, really mundane, really boring terms that only hedge fund managers and CPAs understand. This has been the keynote issue for me ever since I ran for this office. And I've been in this office for 1 year now. And except for helping to pay off and push RCTC and some other JPAs to pay down their unfunded liability, not fixing the issue, because the inherent issue is still fundamentally that any defined benefit pension program like CalPERS, and like so many of them, even in the counties around us, are inherently flawed. You cannot promise things that don't exist. A defined contribution like a 401k delivers exactly what both parties put into it, plus what they make with their investments. This plan is the cart pushing the horse. And right now, this horse and cart are going to go right off of a cliff, because the tap fee, from what I understood, is not $9 billion. It's more like $18 billion based upon the 2.5% return. I was in there with Mr. Bartell, our county actuarial, and whether it's $9 billion or $18 billion, it's an amount that we cannot get out of. We're not going to go find $9 billion or $18 billion. But I thought it was really, really curious when Mr. Bartell told me, and I said, give me a balance of what it would be if they went ahead and based that on 8%, a discount rate of 8%, a return on all these investments of 8%, like what they promised when they sold this to us, and it would be $2 billion. It would be only $2 billion. And we could go ahead and get out of this and then form something that's sustainable. But I'm going to use right now a little story, a story of you have a house and you have a mortgage, and you find out with your salary you can only pay 70% of that mortgage every month. So instead of moving out of the house, you go ahead and you borrow a little bit of money from Uncle Louie. And after a few months, Uncle Louie says, I don't want to loan you any more money. I'm not getting anything back. And then you start cutting back and you get Top Ramen instead of buying and going out to eat. And you go ahead and you quit driving places and you cut down all your costs. And you keep going until finally you can't make that extra money to pay more than 70% of your mortgage. And you know what happens? You get evicted.
There you go. Stuff
you get
right
your
there.
house taken over.
I mean, yeah, you get your house taken away. If you got it, like Jeff said, okay, you got. Let's make it really simple. $1,000 a month is your house payment. You're only paying $700 a month, or that's all you have to pay. You're not going to live in that house anymore. You can't pay it. Jeff broke that down simply. Quit giving us all these stupid terms. I went in there and talked to the guys. This is what's really happening. So I want to get to the part of that in where you really hold the power, because when they come up with this of doing it, and there was just 4 of us that were down there, and you should have seen. You go to the county board of supervisors. Well, maybe we'll post the link in there. Well, I don't know how many of you would go out there and watch, and then watch how the county supervisors react to just 4 of us showing up and addressing this issue. You don't think you have any influence? You don't think you can affect what's going on? You can, but it's going to take a bigger army. Because like I said, and I can play my comments or doing that, they're under assault. Public employee unions are putting a lot of pressure on them to do that because they want the money. And I want, call in. Policemen, firemen, guys sweeping the sidewalk, school teachers, any public employee. Call in. Let's have a debate. I'll set you in these chairs. We'll discuss what's going on. Because your unions, whatever they are, the only purpose they have is to get you more money for less hours and greater benefits. That's it. That's what they're out there for. And probably rightly so. But as I said to the board in my public comments, it is you, the 5 elected officials, that are that buffer. You are our representatives. And you are the stewards of the public money, and you have the public trust. And you can vote it any way you want. But the true test of your character is going to be you do the right thing, even if it's not in your perceived self-interest. Because if you really want to have ethics, true character, and respect in your community, you will do what's right. And as I told them, all of y'all 5 sitting up on the dais up there know a heck of a lot more about this than I or anybody in this audience probably does. And you probably know the gravity of the situation even more. But will you have the guts enough to pull the trigger and do the right thing for the people that elected you and trusted you? And that's really the bottom line in this whole situation. Jeff Hewitt stood strong. He voted against the 20% pay increase that went through for the sheriffs. If I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chad Bianco, you promised more officers at less money. How did that budget go up? Why didn't that 20% go to pay those pensions down for the retirees that are getting? Start paying down some of this unfunded mandate. Start solving this crisis. You never know. There was one that stood up a couple weeks ago. We're going to see if we can get 2 more. Because like I said, those of you watching in the video, I'm holding up 3 fingers. That's the number 3. That's the votes it takes on that board to do just about anything. We got 1, as I'm holding up the number 1 finger. We need 2. Empower your representatives. And I especially appealed to board member Manny Perez. I said, you've got to get your constituency and tell them the truth. We'll be back tomorrow on Wicked Wednesday with Stephanie in on that, and we'll go through all the news and events and all that stuff, fun stuff that you always come to expect on this show on that. So we will see you in 23 hours.